Dear students, please welcome to the YouTube channel Mathematics Student Helper. In that video, the topic is improper integral. This is part 3. Another parts are also available in my channel. Link of that videos are given in description box. This is the continuation of part 2 and continuation of part 3 is part 4. So you have to see all the videos. Here I mainly discuss about the test of positive integrand. You know that in previous video I give two theorems on test of positive integrand. First theorem I proved, but here second theorem in second theorem I give some hints. Here I some discussion about test of positive integrand is given in that video, and then I give a special example of convergence of improper integral, which is 1 by x minus a whole to the power mu dx. Clearly the function or the integrand is positive and it has infinite discontinuity at the left boundary only. It is very useful. And at last there is a theorem comparison test, and I give some example of comparison test. The above example, this is the example, that example has huge application, in particular comparison test, or there are some another comparison test which is called limit form. The mu function about function is used. So you know that here we consider the domain as closed and bounded interval. However, if you understand my video, then after watching please like it and share it with your friends. If channel is not till subscribed, please subscribe the channel to get more videos. Here we consider domain as closed and bounded interval and integrand is unbounded, that is the integrand has infinite discontinuity. In previous video there are the theorem 2, this is the theorem. The function has only infinite discontinuity at the right boundary, that is at x equal to b, and it is integrable on the remaining portion, that is from a to before b, that is from a to b minus epsilon, where epsilon is positive and it is less than b minus a, you know that. Also you have to take fx is positive, but you can take fx as non-negative, that is you can take fx as greater than or equal to 0. Then the necessary and sufficient condition for convergence of the improper integral a to b fx dx is that for every epsilon satisfying 0 less than b minus epsilon, the integration, there exists a positive real number lambda such that integration a to b minus epsilon fx dx less than epsilon. This means if you integrate fx from a to before b, that is from a to b minus something, then the value of the integral will be less than some finite quantity, that is this will be finite for all values of epsilon. So if you take epsilon tends to 0, then this will be convergent. The proof of the theorem is same as theorem 1, just in first portion I will show the corresponding function phi of epsilon, that is integration of f from a to b minus epsilon. We will show it is decreasing, and then proceed as same of theorem 1. Here I draw a real line, this is a real line, and suppose this point is a, this is a, and right hand side the point is b. We take a length epsilon, suppose we subtract epsilon from b, this is epsilon 1, so this point is b minus epsilon. We take another length epsilon 2 which is greater than epsilon 1, suppose length of that ball from the point is epsilon 2, therefore this point is epsilon 2. Clearly epsilon 1 is here less than epsilon 2, that is epsilon 2 is greater than epsilon 1. Okay, you show that phi of epsilon 1 minus phi of epsilon 2 equal to phi of epsilon 1 means a to b minus epsilon fx dx minus phi of epsilon 2 means a to b minus epsilon 2 fx dx. You see that a plus a to b minus epsilon means here from there to there. Okay, integration from a to b minus epsilon, and a to b minus epsilon means from here to here. So clearly integration of f from a to b minus epsilon is larger, because here the integrand is positive, here integration is actually is nothing but it is addition or sum. If you add some quantity from a to b minus epsilon, all the quantities are non-negative. Therefore, the values of sum of integrand from a to b minus epsilon will be greater than the value of integration from a to b minus epsilon. Therefore, this will be greater than 0. And what will the value? You see that you have to subtract that integration from that a to b minus epsilon. Therefore, result will be this portion, that is integration from b minus epsilon to b minus epsilon. Since fx is here positive, however it will be greater than or equal to 0. Therefore, it is value of integration will be greater than or equal to 0 since fx is greater than 0. However, if fx will greater than or equal to 0, then the result will be same. Here x belongs to b minus epsilon to b minus epsilon 1. Actually, integration, we can perform integration fx from a minus epsilon to a to b minus epsilon, but this is a subset of a to b minus epsilon. Therefore, you can integrate from b minus epsilon to b minus epsilon 1. Therefore, its value will be greater than or equal to 0. So, we see that phi of epsilon 1 minus phi of epsilon 2 greater than or equal to 0. That is phi of epsilon 1 is greater than or equal to phi of epsilon 2. Here you see that epsilon 1 is less than epsilon 2. That is, but their output opposite. Therefore, that means here epsilon is less than epsilon 2, but here phi of epsilon is greater than epsilon 1. Thus, 0 less than epsilon 1 less than epsilon 2 less than b minus 1 implies that their outputs are opposite. Therefore, the function is monotone decreasing. Okay, then proceed as theorem 1, which is given in previous video. Please see that video. Okay, now I will go some example. This is example 7 up to example 6 discussed. Example 6 discussed in previous video. Here I consider the integrand 1 by x minus a whole to the power mu. Okay, at first you have to say that is it improper integration or proper integration. You see that if it is in denominator, I see that it is the denominator in denominator, but if mu is negative, then it, suppose mu equal to minus 2, therefore this will be actually 1 by x minus a whole to the minus 2 means x minus a whole square. So for that purpose, a is not infinite discontinuity. Again, if mu equal to 0, this is constant. So if mu less than or equal to 0, the function has no infinite discontinuity. If mu less than or equal to 0, the integral is a proper integral and it is continuous because the function 1 by x whole to the mu is continuous. Because if mu equal to 0, this is constant, therefore it is continuous. If mu is negative, this will be x minus a whole to the something. This function also continuous. Therefore, we can integrate that function. Okay. Therefore, the above proper integral is integrable. Okay. Now, if mu greater than 0, then fx equal to 1 by x minus a whole to the power mu. We have to take the domain as open A closed B, because if you put x equal to n, then this does not exist. This will be infinite. So we take the domain as open A closed B interval. Actually, we are not interested about the point A, because for point of infinite discontinuity, it is not necessary to know the value of function at x equal to A. Okay. However, the function has infinite discontinuity and only at the point x equal to A. Okay. Now, for let epsilon greater than 0 such that this is, now we have to integrate since from a plus epsilon to b, because the function has infinite discontinuity at x equal to a, but the remaining portion the function is integrable. Then fx is continuous in the remaining portion a plus epsilon to b, and therefore it is integrable on a plus epsilon to b, where epsilon is that. Now suppose the value of integration of fx from a plus epsilon to b is phi of epsilon. Let phi epsilon equal to integration of 1 by x minus a whole to the power mu dx, where domain is a plus epsilon to b. Okay. Now we have to check the value phi of epsilon, limiting value of phi of epsilon as epsilon tends to 0 plus. At first we break the condition, actually we divide the condition mu greater than 0 in two parts. At first we consider mu equal to 1 and then mu equal to 1. If mu equal to 1, then phi of epsilon means 1 by x minus a whole x minus a, here mu is 1. Its integral will be log of mod x minus a, but here we not take mod because here x minus is positive, therefore mod of x minus a will be x minus a. and upper bound is b and lower bound is a plus epsilon. If you put upper bound and lower bound in that portion, then phi of epsilon will be log of b minus a minus log of epsilon. Here we discuss the condition when mu equal to 1. Now you see that here now we have to take limit as epsilon tends to 0 plus. If you take limit as epsilon tends to 0 plus, then log of epsilon will tend to minus infinite. As a result, this portion, that is minus of log of epsilon, tend to plus infinite, but this is constant. Therefore, as a result, whole portion diverges to plus infinite as epsilon tends to 0 plus. So phi of epsilon tends to infinite as epsilon tends to 0 plus. So the improper integral a to b 1 by x minus a whole to the power mu greater than 0 is divergent when x equal to 1. Here we consider mu greater than 0 because this is improper integration. So this improper integration is diverged when mu equal to 1. Now we consider the case if mu not equal to 1. If mu not equal to 1, then phi epsilon equal to 1 by x minus whole to the mu. This means x minus a whole to the minus mu. If you integrate x minus a whole to the power mu, the result will be x minus a whole to the power mu minus mu plus 1 divided by minus mu plus 1. And its lower bound is a plus 1 and upper bound is b. Now have to put the upper bound and lower bound. If you put, then you get 1 by 1 minus mu, b minus a whole to the power minus mu plus 1. I write here actually 1 minus mu, same, and here this is 1 minus mu. Now we have to find now if mu now we break mu not equal to 1 in two parts. At first we consider mu less than 1 and then we consider mu greater than 1. Here you see that at that portion the improper integration, here mu is always greater than 0. We discuss the condition when mu less than or equal to 0. When mu less than or equal to 0, the integration will be a proper integration and it is convergent, it is integrable. So here mu greater than 0. If mu not equal to 1, at first we consider mu is less than 1. Therefore here mu must be lies between 0 and 1 of the interval. So 0 less than mu less than 1. For that purpose, the above value, that is phi epsilon, will be that same. Here I express this in same form. Here you see that now we have to check that the value of phi of epsilon as epsilon tends to 0 plus. If you take epsilon tends to 0 plus, this will be 0 because 1 minus mu is positive. You see that mu less than 1, therefore 1 minus mu is positive. Therefore epsilon to the power 1 minus u tends to 0. This is 0, therefore result will be 1 by 1 minus mu into b minus a whole to the power 1 minus mu as epsilon tends to 0 plus. Because since 1 minus mu is positive, epsilon tends to 1 minus epsilon to the power of 1 minus mu will tend to 0 as epsilon tends to 0 plus. Okay, so in this case the improper integration is convergent. Therefore the improper integral is convergent when 0 less than mu less than 1. Okay. Now the remaining portion is mu greater than 1. If mu greater than 1, then you see that mu minus 1 is positive. Mu minus 1 is positive. So you have to express this in terms of mu minus 1. So here you take common minus 1 from that form. This will be minus of 1 by 1 minus mu. This is b minus a whole to the power 1 minus mu. This means 1 by b minus a whole to the mu minus 1, and this is same, some 1 by epsilon whole to the mu minus 1. Now you have to take epsilon tends to 0 plus. So you take epsilon tends to 0 plus, this will tend to infinite in the first bracket and the power is a positive quantity. As a result, that portion will tend to plus infinite. So if you take minus infinite, minus sign, therefore this will diverge to minus infinite. As a result, total terms in bracket diverge to minus infinite. Here outside of the bracket is a negative quantity, therefore as a result minus, and this is minus infinite. As a result, phi epsilon diverges to plus infinite as epsilon tends to 0 plus, because mu minus 1 greater 0 and 1 minus 1 by mu whole to the power mu 1 minus epsilon whole to the power mu minus 1 tends to infinite as epsilon tends to 0 plus 1. Therefore in that case the improper integral is diverged. Okay, so we get when mu less than or equal to 0, the improper integration is a proper integral and it is integrable. Okay, when mu greater than 0, then the integration is improper. And we see that it is convergent when 0 less than mu less than 1. Convergent when 0 less than mu less than 1, and it is divergent when mu equal to 1 and mu greater than 1. So only when mu equal to 1 and mu greater than 1, that is only when mu greater than or equal to 1, it is divergent, and otherwise means here mu less than or equal to 0 and here mu is greater than 0 less than 1. If you combine that two relation, then you get mu less than 1. So hence the integral a to b 1 by x minus a whole to the mu dx is convergent if and only if x mu less than 1. Okay, if and only mu less than 1. Same formula arise of the integration when b is the only point of infinite discontinuity. So you have to take the function as 1 by x minus b whole to the power mu. No, 1 by x minus b is not possible, because if you take 1 minus x minus b, this will be negative, because you see that x is greater than a less than b. Since x is less than b, therefore x minus b must be negative. So you have to take b minus x instead of x minus b. So we consider the function 1 by b minus x whole to the power mu, then it is convergent if and only mu less than 1. You can prove that also in same process. Okay, you have to remember that two forms, that is when the function has infinite discontinuity at the left boundary point as well as the function has infinite discontinuity at the right boundary point. This is very important formula which is used many problems. Here I also use that problem in example 8. Before example 8, we perform a proof of comparison test for positive integrand. Actually not positive integrand, it is non-negative integrand will be better. Let fx gx be two real valued function having infinite discontinuity only at x equal to a, such that actually here if g are two functions, both have infinite discontinuity only x equal to a, and you see that all domain of the function is open a closed b, because we know the value of f and g at the point x equal to a. However, such that fx is less than something into gx for all x belongs to open a closed b. If something is k is positive. Okay, and here also say that f and g are both greater than or equal to 0. That is, f and g are non-negative function. Some author mention this is as strictly greater than 0, but if it is greater than or equal to 0, if in particular x equal to 0, this happen. Okay, so here you consider 0 less than or equal to fx. You can take 0 less than also. Some book mention that, some author mention it. Okay, here you see that gx is greater than, actually not gx is greater than, multiplication some scalar multiplication of gx is greater than f of x. Also you have to consider fx and gx are both integrable on the remaining portion excluding a. That means after a, that is from a plus something to b. Also let fg both integrable on a plus epsilon to b. That is f and g are both integrable on after a to b. Therefore a plus something to b. Clearly b is a positive quantity, it must be less than the length of the interval, that is this must be less than b minus a. Then the comparison test implies that if gx is convergent, then fx is also convergent. You can remember that in that approach, suppose you neglect k, just you imagine that here k is not present, so here gx is greater than to fx. So you remember that which is if larger converge, then smaller will be also converge. If larger function or the larger integral is convergent, then smaller integral also convergent. And number 2, if smaller integral is divergent, then larger integral is also divergent. Actually this is roughly implied from 1 by contrapositively. If contrapositively means if output does not hold, that is if fx is not convergent, that is divergent, then input is also divergent. Number 2 is the contrapositive condition of 1, you can show that. So I repeat a comparison test here. Actually we take two functions which have infinite discontinuity at x equal to a, so the value of function fg are unknown at x equal to a. Here also g is greater than fx, where fg are both non-negative, and actually here g can be multiplied some positive quantity also, then if larger function is convergent, then smaller function will be convergent. If smaller function is divergent, then larger function is divergent, provided f and g are both integrable from a plus epsilon to b. Okay. Now we will go in the proof. Given that fg both real valued function on open a closed b would having infinite discontinuity at x equal to a such that 0 less than or equal to fx less than kgx, it is given in the question. Okay. Also given that fg both integrable on a plus epsilon to b for all epsilon satisfying 0 less than b minus a. These are given, all the portion are given, fx less than or equal to kgx, and both are integral on a plus epsilon to b where epsilon is that, and the both function have infinite discontinuity at x equal to b. Okay, now this is the proof. Here actually I write down that relation from that relation. Okay, since this relation holds from a to b, therefore this also hold in a plus epsilon to b also, where epsilon is that. Now if I integrate that, the relation will be same, a plus epsilon to b, we integrate f and g both. If this is equal, this is unequal, that is if it was strictly less than, the result will also be same. So in the comparison test, fx less than or equal to gx, if instead of less than or equal to we take strictly less than, the result will also same. However, you know that from the test of positive integrand, here given that suppose gx convergent, if gx convergent, then we can find a positive real number such that this integration must be less than lambda for all epsilon. Okay, we know from the first theorem of test for positive integrand, which is in previous video. Since gx is convergent, there exists a positive real number. Suppose lambda, such that a plus epsilon to b gx dx less than lambda for all epsilon satisfying that. Again, since this is less than lambda, you have to use that relation. Therefore, this will be strictly less than k lambda. Therefore, from 1, this will be strictly less than k lambda for all epsilon satisfying that. Okay, that is all the integration from a plus epsilon to b for all values of epsilon satisfying that the integration is less than some finite real number. Therefore, we can conclude that a to b fx dx is convergent. Okay, thus gx is convergent implies that integration a to b fx dx is also convergent. Therefore, first part of the convergent test is proved. Now we will go in second part. In second part, we consider the smaller function as divergent, that is, we take fx as divergent improper integral. Now we have to show that gx is improper, gx is also divergent. Okay. For that purpose, we have to integrate f and g from a plus epsilon to b, and we let these are respectively phi of epsilon and psi of epsilon. Clearly, epsilon lies between 0 and b minus a. Okay. Since gx is divergent, that means limit epsilon tends to psi of epsilon not equal to 0. Sorry. Since fx is divergent, that means phi of epsilon tends to limit of phi of epsilon not equal to 0. Sorry. Since this is divergent, phi of epsilon must be diverge. Otherwise, it will converge. You know that when fx was convergent, then this will tend to a final limit because phi epsilon is mod on decreasing function. That is, if this is there is x just a minute. If this is phi of epsilon axis and this is epsilon axis, then phi of epsilon was that mod on decreasing function. Okay, here this can okay, and this was phi of epsilon. Since this is divergent, that means phi of epsilon tends to infinite as or otherwise limit of phi epsilon does not exist. Since it is monotone decreasing sequence here, so if you take epsilon tends to 0 plus, then the curve is increases, but it cannot increase and decrease together, that is it cannot oscillate, because you know that the curve is monotone decreasing. So it must be tends to infinity, that is it is diverged. Okay. So we conclude that phi of since fx sorry again, here I write down the result, actually relation between fx gx. Therefore if we integrate from a plus epsilon to b, then we get that. Okay. Now since fx is divergent, then phi of epsilon will be unbounded above. Since a to b fx dx is divergent, then phi of epsilon is unbounded above. Now from the above relation we get psi of epsilon is greater than 1 by k phi of epsilon. Now you know that, you show that phi of epsilon is unbounded above and this is 1 by k. Therefore as a result this total function 1 by k phi of epsilon is unbounded above, and psi of epsilon is greater than that unbounded above function. Therefore psi of epsilon is unbounded. Since psi of epsilon is unbounded above, therefore here I do psi of epsilon is unbounded, therefore psi of epsilon is unbounded. Since psi of epsilon is unbounded, the integration must be unbounded, must be diverged. Since therefore it is divergent. Okay, it is proved. Okay, because if gx is convergent, then the limit of psi of epsilon will be must convergent. That is, you know that it will it have to bound it above. Okay. Or otherwise you can use the test for positive integrand. There was it is convergent only if and only if psi of epsilon means integration f of a plus epsilon to b fx dx is less than some finite quantity. Gx will be convergent if it is less than some finite quantity. Since it is unbounded above, therefore it is not less than some finite quantity, positive quantity, therefore it is divergent. Okay, you can use the result for test for positive integrand also. Okay, this is the convergent test. I hope that you understand the theorem. Now I will go some example. This is example 8. Test the convergence of the integral 0 to pi by 2 cos x root x dx. At first you have to check, you have to see the function. You see that the function is all everywhere defined except x equal to 0, and when x equal to x tends to 0, this is infinite, because when x tends to 0 this is 1 and this tends to 0, therefore 1 by 0 that means tends to infinite. If this is sin x, therefore this will be sin x by root x. If you take 0, x tends to 0 and sin x by root x, then you get the result as 0, because sin x by root x means root sin x by x, root x into sin x by x. If the function was sin x by root x, then you can write sin x by root x equal to sin x by x into root x. So sin x, limit of sin x by x means 1 and root x, limit of root x is 0. As a result, this function will have limit as 0. Therefore, then sin x by x has not infinite discontinuity and at x equal to 0. So this was integrable. But here the function is cos x by root x, so the function has infinite discontinuity at x equal to 0. And actually the domain of the function cos x by x is from open 0 to pi by 2. Let fx equal to cos x by root x. Clearly domain is open 0 pi by 2, because value of the function fx is unknown at x equal to 0. And clearly the function has infinite discontinuity only at x equal to 0. Since fx tends to infinite as x tends to 0 plus. Let another function gx equal to 1 by root x, where domain is x is also same 0 to pi by 2 and gx has infinite discontinuity at x equal to 0. So we find f and g both non-negative function having infinite discontinuity at x equal to 0. Moreover, 0 less than or equal to fx less than k into gx, k equal to 1, since that, so that we know in that interval 0 less than or equal to cos x less than 1. If you multiply both sides by 1 by root x, then this will be 0, this is that. 1 by root x cos x means fx, 1 by root x, that means gx, here k is 1. So fx less than k into gx, where k is 1 in that interval. So here we can use convergent test, provided gx is convergent. Here you see that gx is of the form 1 by x minus a whole to the power mu. Here a means 0, therefore gx is 1 by x minus a whole to the power mu with mu equal to half. Gx equal to 1 by root x, which is of the form 1 by x to the power mu with x equal to half less than 1. You know that in example 7 all the functions if having infinite discontinuity at the left boundary x equal to a, and if the function is 1 by x minus a whole to the power mu, the function has infinite discontinuity at x equal to n, then it is convergent if and only mu less than 1. Here mu is half, it is less than 1, therefore gx integration g of 0 to pi by 2 gx dx is convergent. Then from 1 here, if you compare, here gx is convergent, therefore fx must be convergent. By comparison test, fx is convergent, that is given integral is convergent. Okay, I hope that you understood my video. Now I will go back to the comparison test. Here we show that if we neglect just k, then we can conclude that if larger is convergent, then smaller is also convergent, and if smaller is divergent, then larger is convergent. Actually 2 is the contrapositive portion of 1, but converse of 1 does not hold. Converse means if fx convergent, then gx may or may not convergent. That is, it always does not imply that if smaller function is convergent, that is, if smaller function is convergent, then bigger function is convergent. It does not hold always. There are some examples when it is hold, and there are many examples where it does not hold. And secondly, that portion its converse part, that is, if gx is divergent, then fx is divergent. This is not always true. There are many examples. Okay, just remember it. So we cannot use comparison test for every function, because there are a fallacy, because if fx is convergent, then we cannot conclude about gx. Otherwise, if gx is divergent, we cannot conclude about fx. Okay, so there are another comparison test which is say in limit form. We discuss limit form in next video, and I will give some example also to clarify that to comparison test. Okay, I hope that you understand my video. For any query, please comment, or you can mail me. Email ID is given in description box. Please see the next video. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.